Randy Stair was 24 years old when he carried out one of the most senseless mass shootings in Pennsylvania history. On the surface, he was a quiet young man working the overnight shift at a Weis Market's grocery store in Eaton Township, a rural area near Tunkhannock. He had worked there for several years without major incident. But beneath the surface, he was spiraling into a dark fantasy world that culminated in tragedy. On June 8, 2017, Randy had been growing increasingly isolated in the months leading up to the attack. He lived with his parents, struggled with depression, and immersed himself in a fictional cartoon world he had created online called Ember's Ghost Squad. Inspired by the Nickelodeon show Danny Phantom, Randy's universe featured ghost characters that he claimed spoke to him. He believed he would join them in the afterlife if he carried out a mass killing and then died by suicide. In the weeks before the shooting, Randy began planning meticulously. He documented everything in disturbing journals, audio recordings, and videos that he later uploaded online. He wrote about how he felt no empathy, how he believed in reincarnation, and how he wanted to leave a mark on the world through violence. He brought 2 pistol-grip shotguns to work and, during the quiet hours of the overnight shift, blocked the store's exits with pallets and other items to prevent anyone from escaping. At around 12:10 a.m., on June 8, 2017, Randy began his attack. Without warning, he opened fire on his co-workers inside the store. 3 of them, Victoria Brong, 25, Brian Hayes, 47, and Terry Sterling, 63, were killed. Randy walked methodically through the aisles, attempting to find others to shoot, but several employees managed to hide or escape. Surveillance footage later showed Randy pacing through the store, talking to himself, and firing at various points before eventually locking himself inside an office and turning the gun on himself. Police arrived at the scene after one of the survivors escaped through an emergency exit and called 911. Inside the store, they found a horrifying scene. The victims had been shot at close range. Randy's lifeless body was discovered in the office, surrounded by spent shell casings and his shotguns. Investigators scoured Randy's online presence and discovered the full extent of his planning. He had uploaded files to a Google Drive folder, including a nearly 100-page manifesto, videos, audio clips, and drawings. In these materials, he detailed his hatred for humanity, his belief in supernatural spirits, and his desire to become a ghost by committing mass murder. His manifesto included chilling statements such as, "I've accepted that I'm a cold-blooded killer, and this is the destiny I've chosen." He referred to his co-workers by name and stated that he had wanted to kill them for some time. He also spoke about waiting for the right moment and carefully laying out his plan so it would unfold exactly as he imagined. The shooting devastated the small community of Eaton Township. The victims were beloved members of their families and community. Victoria Brong had just recently celebrated her wedding anniversary. Brian Hayes was known for his kind demeanor and dedication to his job. Terry Sterling was a grandfather who had worked multiple jobs to support his family. Weis Markets released a statement expressing their deep sorrow and providing support to the families of the victims. The store remained closed for several days and eventually reopened after a thorough investigation and cleanup. In the aftermath, discussions about mental health, online radicalization, and gun access came to the forefront. Randy had legally purchased the firearms used in the attack. Since the perpetrator, Randy Stair, died by suicide at the scene of the crime, no criminal trial ever took place. However, his materials remain archived in news reports and law enforcement records as a disturbing insight into the mind of a killer who believed his fantasies justified mass murder.